That's it. We're back. There we go. Inside the 12, the Hoops edition. Pete Souza alongside the guy. He's a bucket getter. He'll dig in and play D. If you need to stop, he is King McClure. King, you ready for this season?
Man, I've been ready. This has been a fantastic start to college basketball. It honestly almost has a March level feel, and we haven't even gotten to January. This is terrific.
Yeah, and we hope that the Big 12 can keep up this type of play when we get to March, because they have been dominant in the non-con. When we look at exactly what the Big 12 has done, look at this right here. This is the non-con dominance, and we've got 6 teams in the top 20 poll. But what do you think about, King, when you see the fact that the Big 12 is taking on these other Power 5 conferences and knocking them down?
Well, this is the best conference in college basketball. I mean, last year we hyped up the SEC, and the SEC deserved all of that love. They had a historical year. But this season, the Big 12 is back. The Big 12 is the best league in college basketball, and right now it's not even close.
When you're traveling around calling games, like you and I get the pleasure of doing, early in the season, what has been the response to the Big 12's non-con play when you talk to coaches, when you talk to players and other broadcasters?
Well, they're ducking no smoke. They're taking on all the challenges, and they want to play the best teams in each conference. And I love that. I love that mentality, because when you get to conference play, there's no easy game.
Yeah.
Every single game is going to be a bloodbath. You better bring your A-plus performance, or not, you're going to get beat. Even when it comes to those teams like the lower level of the league, those teams are still competitive. They're still good. So I love the non-con and what they're doing, because they're preparing themselves for when they get deeper in conference play.
6 teams in the top 20. They are Arizona, Iowa State, Houston, BYU, Kansas, and Texas Tech. The conference, we just showed you the numbers, tied for the best overall winning percentage, 80% with the SEC in the non-con. Versus Power 5s, they've got 43 wins. That winning percentage is 62%. Let's get to Arizona. I mentioned them. Number 1, right? The Arizona Wildcats. What can you tell me about Arizona going 10-0 so early on in the season? This is the first time in 30 years a team has beat 5 ranked teams in the first 9 games. Florida, UCLA, UConn, Auburn, and Bama. Make sense of that for me.
Well, they're off to a historical start, and this team is a little different than what we see in college basketball because of the way they win. They're not a team that shoots a lot of threes, but they assert their dominance every single time they step on the floor. They get after you defensively. They can do it inside and out. They have 2 terrific freshmen in Koa Pete and Braden Burries. Burries honestly didn't come along to the party until the game against Alabama when he had 28. Well, welcome to the party, young fella. And now the fact that they can have this guy, another scorer, another perimeter guy, because I thought that was the one area which they were kind of sort of lacking, is their guard depth. But now Braden Burries is inserted, and his dominance is starting to be on display. This Arizona team is that much more dangerous.
Hang on, you forgot about my boy Avery Bradley.
You mean Jane Bradley?
Yeah, Jane Bradley.
Yeah. Avery Bradley was a beast too. But look, there's honestly some similarities between Avery Bradley and Jaden Bradley because the way that they hold it down at the point guard spot. I mean, they can really defend. Because I was going to save him for the last. Because we saved the best for last. One of the best point guards that I don't think gets talked about enough. Yeah. He doesn't get enough love, and I don't know why that is. But you know what? We're going to give him love because he is that terrific, people. He is the ultimate leader. I mean, to be a senior veteran PG, leading these young guys and Burries and Koa Pete, putting them in positions to succeed, and the way he can score the basketball, the way he doesn't run from any type of matchup.
Yeah, is he one of the best best defenders in the league?
Yes, he's one of the best defensive guards in the league, but he can do it on both sides, and I think that's what's so impressive. But he's more than just that. He is an ultimate leader. He is the main primary reason why Arizona is having this much success.
All right. Iowa State is a problem. We have got to talk about Iowa State. They are 11-0, 6-0 versus Power 5 teams that win against Purdue. I mean, they literally beat the brakes off them. And also a win against St. John's, a win against Iowa. Give me an early look into why this team is so successful.
You know, when I talk about Iowa State, I feel like the word that I want to use is culture, right? Because when you talk about culture, we always think of who in the Big 12 play?
Well, we're with Houston.
We always think of Houston, but I don't think Otzelberger, Mr. Swole, gets enough love when it comes to that word culture, because it doesn't matter who he loses, right? You lose Gilbert, you lose Jackson, it doesn't matter. Let's insert the next man. We got Killian Torrey, we got Bateman coming off the bench.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. There is a certain standard and a certain level. every single time these dudes go out there and compete, they get it done defensively. They're going to not necessarily speed you up, but they're going to make you start your offense in a higher position in which you intend to start it. And that's what they did against Purdue.
Yeah.
They completely got Purdue out of their rhythm, and they gave Braden Smith fits, even though he had a decent game. They gave him fits all night.
What is that like when you're on a team and you're bringing the ball up the court and you see this perimeter defense that is now extending out towards the hash mark? It's got to be intimidating.
Well, you know, I played against Press Virginia with Javon Carter and Daxter Miles, and you talking about not just extending in the half court, but extending that full court for a whole 40 minutes. Pete, that's not something that you ever want to go through.
That's scary.
That's not fun. That's extremely intimidating, and especially when you're playing with guys who don't want the basketball, and you're the only one that kind of wants it.
Yeah.
So now you got to be forced to be the one to bring it up. Pete, that's not. So I don't wish that on my worst enemy. All right. I don't know how you would do in that scenario.
I wouldn't do well at all. I'd pass the ball to you. I would panic. I get it to you. King McClure, still fresh. Still very fresh. We're going to come back with some of the best freshmen in the country. They play in the Big 12. Inside the 12 rolls on. We're talking about guys who are going right to the NBA, but the stop in the Big 12 is going to be memorable. It is time for our game-breaking plays brought to you by Hell of a Good Dips. Game on, dip in with Hell of a Good. We start with Joe Tugg. Remember this guy when he was a young man? Now he's a beast. A grown man throwing down right here. Monster dunk against Jackson State Cougars, went 80-38.
Let's take it to Ames because Tamin Lipsey just doing what Tamin Lipsey does. Getting the steal in the behind the back pass, so smooth, so crisp. If you're not careful with the basketball, he will turn that into offense every single time.
How about Olivia Miles? We go to the women's side, and a rejection right there. It's almost like she went up in the air, thought, oh, fuck it with my right hand. No, let me go with my left, and puts it into the second or third row. Horned Frogs will win this game 89-49.
Good defense once again because you get a turnover. AJ DeBanster, the spectacular freshman. Give and go. Give it to Richie Saunders. Throw it up to the athletic beast. And let him just absolutely throw it down.
I mean, that looks like it's been going on for far too long, but it hasn't been. It's just about a couple months that those guys have been together, but we got to talk about these talented freshmen. When we look at this class, it's tough for freshmen actually to break through and play in college basketball now just because of the transfer portal and just grown men being out there. But the Big 12 has 5 guys who come into this college basketball season as the most celebrated group of freshmen that I can remember.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because when you look at these 5 guys, I think all 5 have a chance to be lottery picks. All 5, not just first-round draft picks, but lottery picks. I think when you look at a guy like Kingston Flemings, we knew he was talented, we knew he was good, but we didn't think that he would play the way he's playing and rise his way into, you know, this top lottery pick conversation.
Not this early.
Not this early. I mean, when you look at AJ DeBanster, Darren Peterson, clearly those two are the top 2, the cream of the crop, but everybody else are guys who have almost exceeded expectations.
Yeah, Tunde Yesufu is a dude who, just having a chance to watch him play a few times, he has an impact on the game, and then you look at the box score and you're like, man, he's got 20 and 12. You know, he lets it come to him, and I think that's what's special about a lot of these freshmen. They're not pressing. And I want to see you or hear what you have to say in a breakdown about some of these guys. And we got to start with AJ DeBanster. He has just been outstanding, averaging just about 20 points a game.
He is phenomenal. And I've been so impressed. There's 2 games in which I was the most impressed. That UConn game and the Clemson game. And what I saw in there is the ability to be able to shake off the first half. For a young guy that's 18 years old, right? Typically guys like him, they have a bad first half. They sulk in it. They stay in it, right? But AJ DeBanster's ability to go from 0 to 100 real quick, like Drake said, right? For him to take it to that next level is absolutely incredible. I mean, what he did in that Clemson game, how we took the game over, you saw everything you wanted to see from a number 1 pick. I mean, it was defense, right? Protecting the rim. It was scoring the ball. It was getting to your spots, getting to that mid-post area, rising up over the defender. It was playmaking. The passes we saw off the pick and roll when he threw the lob to Keita multiple times. I mean, his ability to just take over the game is something like we have not seen this season. The only other person who I've seen do that is Cam Boozer, but it looks different. AJ DeBanster at 6'9", it looks different than any of the Campbells or the Dan Petersons.
Quick question for you. He also looks and sounds different off the floor. He's really transparent about, he consumes all the social media content. He sees it all. He reads it all. And so far, dude, it doesn't seem to have affected him at all. He's ice cold.
He is a very mature guy. To me personally, this is your number one pick in the draft. And you saw that on 2 games on display. That's your number one pick.
All right, Kingston Flemings. I know he's a guy you like a lot. 6'4", coming out of San Antonio. What can you tell me about this guy you like?
The poise and the maturity. Goodness gracious, Pete. To be a freshman, to be inserted in a lineup in which you're technically replacing LJ Cryer. You have a lot of expectations on you, and this young man has rose to the occasion every single time. His athleticism, we see him at the rim. His ability to be able to get into the lane and facilitate for others. Look at this, oh my goodness. Catching bodies, right? Who knew we were gonna get that from Kingston Flemings, but right, what else do we expect from a guy with a name like Kingston, right? What else do we expect? I mean, it's just similar to King, right? So you know that he is going to be a problem on the floor, and the poise and the maturity in which he plays with every single time. Defensively, he gets after it. He has been so impressive, and he has exceeded my expectations, probably as well as everybody else's expectation in the country also. 5
assists a game. That is 9th in the Big 12 and up there in the tops in the nation. He, like you, royalty with that name. All right, we're going to step aside and come back. We're talking women's hoops. Rachel Galligan, Big 12 women's basketball insider, takes us all around the globe. That's right, the globe. We start in Paris. Talk to you about how Baylor and the Big 12 has had such dominance in the non-con. Welcome back to Inside the 12. Here to get us caught up to speed. Let's welcome her in right now. First time this year, feels like it's been too long. We're going long distance because she used to dial from long distance. Rachel Galligan joining us now, Big 12 Women's Hoops Insider. She's got a Big 12 game coming up a little later in the day. Rachel, thank you so much for spending some time with us this morning.
Man, I'm so thrilled to be here. It's good to see you, Pete.
It's great to see you too. Now, let's talk about the Big 12. Their strong play in the non-conference began in the City of Lights, Baylor against Paris, against Duke in Paris, and that lit the way for a lot of success in the non-con, specifically against the ACC. What can you tell us about this early success?
Well, the Big 12 is 8-4 versus ACC opponents so far this season. And like you said, it was Baylor who really set the tone when they beat number 7 Duke in Paris. West Virginia followed that up a week later, also earning a big win over then number 15 Duke. And then 2 days later, the Big 12 preseason favorite TCU beat then ranked number 10 NC State in Raleigh. You know, it's important to note the Big 12 holds a 6-4 record over the Big 10 as well. Iowa State beat number 11 Iowa just a week ago in Ames. Audie Crooks dropped 30 points and shot 65% from the floor in that game.
Let's transition into Audie Crooks and what Iowa State is doing this year. They are one of the top teams headed into conference play. Who else? First of all, I guess, give me a little more on Iowa State and then tell me who else is a top team as we head into conference play.
Well, the Cyclones have been really impressive. And like you said, it starts with the nation's leading scorer, Audie Crooks, who's averaging 27.8 points per game, shooting 72% from the field, which is second in the country. They have the 5th ranked offense in the nation, averaging 92.8 points per game. Addie Brown and Jada Williams both play really big roles in that production. They're 4th in the country in field goal percentage and 2nd in the country in assist to turnover ratio. And then I have to talk about TCU. Where do I even start? The best part about TCU is their ability to get it done on both ends of the floor. We know they have one of the most dynamic offenses in the country, led by Olivia Miles and Marta Suarez, who just became the 2nd pair of teammates to post a triple-double in the same game in NCAA Division I history. You heard that right. Oh, and Olivia Miles has 3 straight triple-doubles, which has only happened 3 times in NCAA history. But honestly, what's most impressive, TCU leads the country in scoring defense, allowing just 49 points per game.
Yeah, defense is going to have to travel in this league, right, especially as we get into conference play. Want to back up real quick to Iowa State. You mentioned Jada Williams. She is just electric. To watch her at Arizona was just, I was spellbound, and now to see her at Iowa State, I feel like she brings a little bit of grit and swagger to this Cyclones ball club. Would I be correct in saying that?
Oh, I think you nailed it on the head. She's been fantastic, and I think she's playing with a renewed sense of confidence. She's putting up the best assist numbers of her career, and you can just tell she is having so much fun out there on the floor.
All right, how about some matchup previews? You mentioned we get into conference play. Oh, actually, before we get to the matchups, I'm getting ahead of myself. I want to get your surprise team in non-conference play. Somebody's going to come out of the darkness here. That always happens, right, when we get into the thick of Big 12 on Big 12. Who have you seen so far that gives you an indication they could be that team?
Well, I have to mention Texas Tech. Krista Gerlich has done a fantastic job with the Lady Raiders so far this season. They're off to a 12-0 start. They've got a ton of depth offensively, led by Bailey Maupin, Jalen Bristow, and Snetta Collins. It's the job they've done on the defensive end that has impressed me the most, allowing just 52 points per game, which ranks 12th in the country. And they've got a 3-0 record versus Power 4 opponents in the non-conference. And then real quick, just Oklahoma State. They've been made for TV. They've scored over 100 points 5 times this season, including a program record for points in a game on December 6th when they dropped 133 points against Mississippi Valley State.
Wow. How about when you talk about Krista Gerlich, by the way, with Texas Tech? I love coaches that have been around for a while, have a pedigree. They're the ones you got to keep an eye on, right? The ones who, when we get into the thick of it, their teams kind of find a way and they're standing when we get to March.
Well, and they're just playing with so much urgency right now. And I think it really starts from the top with Krista Gerlich. You know, she knows this program. She's obviously deeply invested in this program, and she's done a phenomenal job building out a tremendous staff this year that's really helped this team.
All right, let's look forward now to some huge games this weekend. We've talked about Iowa State. They host Kansas. That's Sunday, 1 Eastern time on ESPN2. Take us inside that matchup.
I mean, Kansas is much improved from last season. Samaya Nichols is one of the most impressive scoring and facilitating guards in the country, averaging 20 points and 5 assists per game this season. I'm really excited to see how they're going to fare against the top 10 ranked Cyclones. And then the other one I want to mention is Baylor versus Texas Tech on Sunday. It's an in-state battle. It is Texas Tech's first ranked matchup, which will be a great measuring stick, not just for the Lady Raiders, but for Baylor, who's going to be looking to make a statement in the state.
All right, Rachel Galligan, thank you so much. We've got plenty more coming up with you this whole season. Where can people find you?
You can find me on X, just at Rach Gal. I'm constantly tweeting about the Big 12 and all the great action that's going on.
A great follow. All right, keep shooting. We'll get back with you in a little bit.
See you guys.
Rachel Galligan with everything we need to know as we get set to start this Big 12 women's hoop season. When we come back, we're going to take you inside some of the biggest matchups in college basketball this week. We're just outside of New York in Brick City, Houston and Arkansas. Then we go into the city, Duke and Texas Tech, and out west, Stanford and Colorado. Inside the 12 is brought to you by Hell of a Good Dip. Game on, dip in with Hell of a Good. All right, the Big 12 weekend schedule is action-packed. Pete Souza back with you here, and King McClure riding with me. King, a lot of big-time games on this schedule right here. I mean, again, the non-con games early in the season have been awesome. The one that jumps off the page at me, and I'm going to be old for a second, hang in there with me, Kelvin Sampson and John Calipari. I mean, that is a coaching matchup sent from heaven. That's an early Christmas gift, right? I'm fired up for that one. What do you make of this matchup? It's a big game. The game, by the way, let me give it its just due. Saturday at 5:30 Eastern time on CBS at the Prudential Center in Brick City, Newark, New Jersey. What do you think?
I'm laughing because my man Pete had to ask me if he had permission to be old for a second. Pete, you're not old. I mean, you don't look old. But I guess you are old because you had to ask that question. So that just solidified your oldness. But all right, nonetheless, Houston and Arkansas, this is going to be an incredible matchup. We talked about great freshmen, right? But let's talk about a great freshman in the SEC, Darius Acuff. When you look at Acuff versus Kingston Flemings, that is going to be as good of a matchup as you will see. And the way this Arkansas team is playing, the way that they are rolling, the way that Trevon Brazile is now starting to take his game to the next level, I think that this could really go down to the wire. This could be a tough battle because in the SEC, they're physical, they're athletic. That is what this Arkansas team prides themselves on.
All right, question for you. How does Houston keep them under 90 points? Because they're averaging 90 points a game, and that won't be conducive to Houston winning the ball game if they can score 90.
It's all about controlling the tempo. And the way you control the tempo is that Arkansas loves to push the pace. All right, well, Houston, slow it down, be very intentional with your offensive possessions.
Okay.
And defensively, they don't allow you to get quick looks off of the first action. Right? That's why they say they slow the game down, because now off the second and third action, you're going to have multiple looks or good looks in order to go against this Houston defense. What am I saying, Pete?
No,
I can't speak right now, right? And that's what happens when you play against this Houston defense. They get you all discombobulated. They get you in a mumbo, and you're like, oh my goodness, what am I going against? But you have to be intentional on offense in order to play against this Houston defense to succeed.
Whatever
it's not going to allow you anything easy.
I'm old. I already forgot it. So don't worry about that. All right, let's move on now. Duke and Texas Tech. This is one of those deals where it's a home game for Duke because you're in that North Jersey area. That game is going to be 8 p.m. on ESPN from Madison Square Garden. That's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about this Texas Tech team.
Yeah, tell me why.
I'm a little concerned because right now it's JT Toppin, Christian Anderson, and friends, if I'm just being very, very honest.
And friends.
They have to have a third option, a consistent third option, whether that be LaJuan. I mean, they have a plethora of options.
Juan Williams he's had a couple big games.
He's had some big ones, but it's not consistent.
Yes.
It's not consistent at all, but this matchup between JT Toppin and Cam Boozer is going to be absolute cinema. That is going to be one of the best front court matchups of all college basketball.
Yeah, the Texas Tech concerns. What do you think Grant McCasland's thinking right now about this team? You've played under him as an assistant coach at Baylor. What's his mindset? What's he telling these guys?
Defensively, they're not good enough. They are not good enough defensively. And if you're not good defensively, you're going to get challenged and exposed in this game against Duke, because Cam Boozer will put that much pressure on you and will make you look bad. I mean, he's leading the nation in scoring for a reason.
Yeah.
He is that level of good. So defensively, if you're not locked in, because Grant McCasland prides himself on defense.
Yeah.
That's who he always has been. That's who he always will be. This team is not where they need to be defensively yet in order to stop somebody and really assert their dominance on the defensive side of things. They don't do that. Offensively is what they rely on.
Yeah, and that's how they're going to have to win if they're going to win in the Big 12. A couple other big games, Stanford and Colorado. Colorado's had a great start to the season.
Yeah.
That game is going to be 8 Eastern on ESPNU on Saturday. And then Cincinnati and Clemson. That's Sunday, 3 p.m. on ESPN. 3 p.m. Eastern time. Jizzle James added to their roster, has been already added. What are your thoughts on that? What does he come and bring Wes Miller's team?
Well, that's their best player. I mean, when you look at Baba Miller, when you look at Dede Thomas, Kirk Kriisa, when you look at these guys, right? Jizzle James is the lead guard. He comes in and instantly becomes your go-to player because he's that level of good. And that's where he was last year. He started off the season hot, ended the season hot, and he was going to be one of the most sought-after transfer players in the portal, but chose to stay at Cincinnati. This is a high-level guard who we're looking to make a jump. And when I say a jump, I mean second team all Big 12 or potentially first team all Big 12, which will be extremely tough.
Yeah.
But that was that was the trajectory that he was on based on how he got better every single year.
All right, they get ready for the next game. We're going to be getting ready for the next show. In between now and then, we're going to be watching Big 12 basketball just like you. Make sure you join us next week on Inside the 12. For King McClure, I'm Pete Souza. We'll see you next time the ball goes up.